All right, so what I want to do today, first of all, I want to revisit the researched persuasive argument essay, okay, the capstone assignment. And then I also want to look at kind of the first steps before you jump in and start writing, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, start sharing the screen. And some of y'all, y'all have been seeing me post stuff, and some of y'all have already gotten out there and hang on, what am I doing? There we go. So we're gonna start the calendar. But I know that y'all have been out there and you're looking and already doing some of the things, which is fine. All right, so y'all can see my screen, right? I know last time we were getting through it and y'all are like, yeah, so we can't actually see your screen. Can y'all see it? Thumbs up.
I can see it.
Okay, awesome, thank you. So I recorded all the stuff for my freshmen, and it was like, yeah, a little 15-minute video. It's like, here's what we're doing this week, and here's where all the things are, and blah, 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 blah. And I went back and watched it, and it did what it did with y'all, so I had to redo it. And I was like, son of a gun. All right. So we made it through the annotated bibliography. And I know there were some people who had some technical issues. Hopefully everyone is, I think we got all those taken care of, but if something happened and you weren't able to submit because of a technology issue, please let me know and we'll see if we can get it opened up for you for like a 24-hour extension. Okay, so let's go to the right week here first of all. All right, so the research persuasive essay, and then we're going to look at invention and paper proposal. Normally in class we do this, and it's literally let's circle up the chairs and everyone gets the opportunity to speak and just really hash out the meat of your argument. But it's a little different, so we'll still put some thoughts out there. So the first thing I want to do is I have linked out here. I've started a new heading because we were just getting so much things. So I split up module 6 with the annotated bibliography, and then now we're under the research persuasive argument. So, oh, this is it. The very bottom link here is the research persuasive essay COVID-19 version, because again, they did make some changes. So due to the current, keep having to move all the little grids. Due to the current distance learning model, the capstone assignment has been revised. Attached is the updated assignment, including new requirements and due dates, okay? We actually went over this before spring break. We went over this, and then we looked at the annotated bibliography, because the annotated bibliography is how we get to this peer-reviewed, this research persuasive essay or research persuasive argument. But again, it has been revised a little bit. I actually have these that we did in class. So the new due date is reflected here of Monday, May the 4th, which is 2 weeks from yesterday. And again, just like in the fall, this final assignment of the semester is due at 5 p.m. in the college course. Okay, don't forget, turn it into the college course, and then after that happens, the high school course will open up and you can turn it in there. All right, so argue your viewpoint in a current within the past 2 years controversy concerning American identity in a rigorously researched 4 to 6 page essay. 1,300 to 2,000 words is 4 to 6 pages. Choose one of the 3 course threads to focus on: gender, race, or ethnicity. You could also choose a controversy in which these topics intersect with each other. I know a lot of y'all are doing like things about specific races or ethnic groups and like gender and, yeah, anyway. All right, as persuasive piece, the essay should advocate that the audience do think or believe something. Okay, remember, it's not just, middle school research where it's like, this is a report on gender identity. Okay, you're actually wanting your audience to think, feel, believe, do something. Okay, you want them to take action. If it's changing their belief, if it's changing you know, a mindset, if it's, you know, supporting a cause or whatever it is, you want your audience to react. So again, think about examples of argument that you've seen during the course. What are they asking, demanding, begging of the audience? Think about how the major appeals are used. And think about kairos, okay, in the building of a persuasive case. So in other words, why now? Why is this the opportune time for your argument that you're presenting? Why should people care about this right now? And again, this first paragraph will end up being your paper proposal that you're going to submit to me. And we'll look at that here in just a minute, okay? So the research requirement, let's see. Your argument's major claim and supporting ideas must be supported with a carefully considered balance of rhetorical appeals. So don't just like slam them with statistics. Let's put some other things in there as well. And evidence gleaned from research. Evidence functions as an appeal. It helps to establish your own credibility. You can use the research you did for your annotated bibliography assignment. Kind of the idea is that that's kind of the springboard for this assignment, but you may need to find some new sources, or in the course of your research, you may have come across some better sources. Now, once you, what I've seen students do, and I'm just like, oh dear, please don't do that, is literally take the annotation and just like plop them all together, take out the, you know, the header stuff and the citations and just submit that as a paper. That is not a research persuasive argument, okay? So make sure, you know, when you are creating these annotations, you're creating them for a very specific audience, that being your UT professor and graders. That's not the audience for this research persuasive essay. All right, so again, the annotations were not designed for your specific audience that you'll be arguing in this. Remember, you're making an argument, expressing your viewpoint by using evidence and refuting counterpoints, not just summarizing. All right, so after you submit, and again, if you look at what I have set up in Google Classroom, assignment number 1 addresses this paragraph, okay, the research requirement. No, wait a minute. No, it didn't. This introductory part up here. So assignment number 1 addresses this idea of like, what exactly is your argument? Assignment number 2 goes about helping you to determine your target audience. Some of you already know it's very, very specific, but some of you, you're still, excuse me, still kind of struggling to find that audience. You might not completely have identified it yet. So remember that you're choosing what's called a hostile audience, and we'll go into that in more detail here in just a minute. A hostile audience does not mean, I always think of Beauty and the Beast, where they're like, kill the beast, they're going to torch the castle. That's not what is meant by a hostile audience in this regard. It just means they don't agree with you on your topic. It could be that they don't agree on what you're proposing. It could be that they just disagree with part of your argument. Okay, so there's something that kind of strikes a nerve with them. So they could be an undecided audience. It could be that they just, you know, they're interested in the topic, but they don't really know a lot about it. Or again, it could be that they just don't agree with you. Let's see. I do want to encourage you guys to think about local venues. So think of, you know, is there something that you could submit to like the Dallas Morning News or to the Richardson Advocate, or maybe take something to the Richardson ISD School Board or the superintendent. You know, maybe even like some local businesses, some kind of a controversy that would affect them, okay? Even I know several of you are doing transgender sports, so maybe you would want to look at, you know, your audience might be UIL, or it might be NAACP. Okay, so those are some things just to kind of think very, very specific. Even the issue of, I know several of you are looking at like gender neutral restrooms. Well, what would that look like at a high school? Okay, what about locker rooms? How would that be addressed? So that might be a direction that you want to go. I mean, you guys are, about to be out the door, but yet you might have younger siblings that are still in the school, or even just thinking of future generations. So what would that look like in the future? All right, audience. All right. Again, evidence, evidence, evidence. The third assignment will address means of persuasion, and how is it that you, a high school student, will be able to persuade this audience. And it has you really kind of dig deep into, how, are you part of the group that you're arguing to? Are you part of the group that's being represented, or part of the controversy being represented? So think about how you as a rhetor are establishing your credibility. The emotional, ethical appeals, logical appeals, how can you even organize the claims? Thesis statement, a lot of times with a hostile audience, you'll want to put that thesis at the end. You'll want to go through all of your reasoning and evidence first, all the refutations, the rebuttals, and then once you have your audience kind of thinking in the same way as you, then you present your claim. Okay. All right, minimum requirements checklist. Number one, name your audience in the header. Okay, you guys did this with the persuasive essay in the fall, with that final paper in the fall. And again, one of the things you're going to be working on in the next few days is really fine-tuning that audience. So imagine this is an article that could be published in an existing journal, a magazine, a newspaper, or on a website. Between the MLA heading, okay, that one up there in the top left-hand corner, and the essay title, you want to briefly and very specifically describe the audience and the venue. For example, Daily Texan student, faculty, staff, and alumni readers are generally aware of UT's top 6% automatic admissions rule. Many of these Daily Texan readers may have benefited from it when it was the top 7, oops, that should be percent, the top 7% or top 10% rule, so they probably will be hostile to my proposal to abolish it entirely. I'll go in and correct that. Should be 7%, not present. So very specific audience. You'll also want to state a compelling thesis. Usually the thesis or the claim is at the beginning of your paper. However, when you're writing to a hostile audience, again, you might want to withhold that claim until the end of the paper, until after you've presented your case. One of the things I would encourage you even to go back and look at if you still have it, and it was from last semester, it was, I can't think of his name now, but it was the attorney who basically talked about how to use these to make a compelling argument. Let me see if I have that here. If not, I know right where it is. It's sitting on my desk. Let me see if I have that. Where we first started talking about Kairos. I don't think I have it. Nope, I did not bring that one home. Son of a gun. I kept referring to that. All right, oh, and it might actually be out there on Google Classroom in last semester stuff. Thesis, okay, all right. Minimum of 5 sources. Okay, originally it was 6, but again, the requirement of the peer reviewed journal article has been dropped, but you do still need the 5 sources. Ideally, what you submitted in with your annotated bibliography, ideally those are your 5 sources. But again, it's possible that maybe you submitted 4 out of your 5 sources, maybe you submitted 3 of your 5 sources. So it's possible that you're still needing to find a couple of sources, or maybe you had some sources, but you think that there's better information out there. And so again, research, it's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing, there's constantly new conversations, entering into the controversy. So just be aware of that and be open to it as you do your research. All right, and again, you're not trying to simply pad the essay, okay? You're trying to put together an intelligent, well thought out, well argued, intentional argument. All right, make sure you include your works cited list at the end. You need that descriptive title, 4 to 6 pages in length, MLA guidelines, proofread, proofread, proofread. We should be well beyond careless mistakes now, okay? The MLA formatting guidelines, those should be second nature by this late in the year. And then obviously your essay must be on topic and answer the prompt. Evidence, evidence, evidence. Let's see, peer evaluations. The first draft is due 12 noon next Thursday, April the 30th for peer evaluations. And just like in the past, you'll upload it in Canvas, and it's 6.5.3 high school peer review draft upload. And the link is like halfway down the page, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Okay. Questions on, I just realized I don't have my chat up, so y'all could be chatting and asking questions and I don't know. Where's the chat? I guess I can't get to the chat. No, I know I can get to chat when I'm sharing because I've done it before. Hang on. Oh well, don't worry about it right now. All right, any questions about that's not what I meant to do. Hang on, hang on. There we go. No. There we go. All right, any questions about the assignment itself? Does it seem familiar? Now that we're looking at it, you're like, oh yeah, that is familiar. Not good. Really so fun. There are some more faces. Okay. All right, so let me get out of this. Let me move y'all over here. And let me get out of this. And let's look at invention and paper proposal. All right, some of this is pulled straight from Canvas. And this one, I had these two already up, but then after talking to Ms. Lewis's one, she's like, remember, this is what we did, but now how are we going to do it? I was like, oh, that's right. But again, normally we would literally, you know, just circle up and we would just hash out everyone's argument. And it's really cool. The very first time we did this, Dr. Steele was actually with us when we did it, so she was able to provide some feedback. So it was really cool. All right, so invention and paper proposal. You know what? Oh, I embedded it. Okay. All right, now that you've done a good amount of research on your topic, it's time to fine tune and determine your argument. And again, some of you know exactly what you're going to argue. Some of you are still kind of still kind of dancing along the outsides of it, okay? While you presented an idea to develop in the head note that you submitted with your annotated bibliography, this exercise will help you to determine your position on the topic, reflect on your attitudes and opinions on the matter at hand, and formulate an argument accordingly. From there, you'll start to draft a preliminary thesis statement in order to establish an organizing principle for your research and your essay. Writing in support of a precise thesis or an overarching claim will help you develop your essay and structure it effectively. One thing I will say is, if you're still struggling even to find research or to write the paper, you probably haven't gotten it specific enough. It's probably still too wide or too broad of a subject. Like again, you know, fair wages, that's huge. That's huge. What about fair wages? Well, we should have them. Okay, so get specific. Get as specific as possible. Of course, as you reflect on what you've written, you may well discover that your topic and purpose have shifted, and thus will have to modify your thesis statement or change it altogether. One of the years when I taught this, I had a student, and they were doing, I don't remember what their topic was, but literally their opinion changed as they did their research. So again, be open to that. So if you're going in thinking, well, we should do this, this, and this because this, this, and this, but then as you research it, that your ideas might change, and that's okay. All right. So the first thing for you guys to do, this document, this is basically that same information. There's a short video. This should be a review. This is, again, it's pulled straight from Canvas. So before you begin, watch this video on invention, and it's how to invent your arguments. With a classmate, preferably your research cohort, I want you guys to discuss the following questions, okay? And if you have a classmate that you just kind of brainstorm with, that's perfectly okay. But the idea, again, is to get some other perspectives, some other, a different thought process other than your own going here, because they might be able to, they'll have different life experiences. Maybe they've come across some things in their own research that might be helpful. So first of all, what's the purpose of your essay? And it's not just, well, I want my audience to agree with me, or, well, there should be gender neutral bathrooms, okay? Be specific. What's your specific argument? Is it there should be, gender neutral restrooms in high school, so students who are struggling or transitioning will have a safe place to, safe place to go, not like literally go, but why is your argument important? What does it matter? Okay, so why do people need to be informed and educated about your argument? And then what preliminary evidence and or reasons will you use to support your claims? This is where that research you've already done, this is where that's going to come in. Okay, and then once you complete this, you'll go on to assignment or exercise number 2, which will help identify your audience. Exercise number 2, okay, and this, you'll want to get this done and turned in pretty quick. I have it due April 23rd, just because I don't want y'all to wait, okay? You need to really fine tune these so you can then get started on the paper. Defining your hostile audience. Ideally, you would brainstorm with your research cohort, because y'all would have a similar topic, or because you have similar topics and you might have a similar audience, okay? I do have a copy of, not this specific document, but I do have this in each of your research cohort folders. So if y'all are able to research together, let me go here. It looks a little bit different. Yeah. Okay, so it looks a little bit different, has some more information on it. And then when you're going to meet, what the link is, what the password is, if you need it. Okay, so it's a little bit different. All right, so are you going to a hostile audience? So after brainstorming with your research cohort, or again, if you have a friend and y'all are doing a similar topic, you can brainstorm with them. Answer the following questions regarding your specific controversy. Of course, in the cohort, each member will submit this. All right, number 1, does politics matter? Okay, we're in an election year. Is this something that you, whatever your topic is it something that you saw maybe in any of the debates that we've had so far? Is it something that you've seen in press conferences, any kind of questioning? Does location matter? Is it a regional controversy? Is it something that started regional and it's going more broad? For example, the young man, the Crown Act with the natural hair, the braids, that was very regional. I mean, he was in the Houston area, but now it's gone national to where states are trying to get the Crown Act passed to basically protect natural hair. Does your controversy impact a specific group of professionals? Again, that would be something with the Crown Act that, professionals who have a diverse, ethnic background and they want to express themselves, then this would obviously impact them specifically. What about socioeconomics? Does that play a part in the controversy? I know there's someone researching transgenders and whether or not they have access to quality medical care. That's not really socioeconomics. Right now, we're finding with the COVID-19 situation that a lot of Black Americans are being affected. And so the question is, well, why is it that they're being affected? Is it because of socioeconomics? Is it because of their jobs? Like, why are they being impacted more? And then what about religion? We looked at an article about was it the Air Force that was upgrading, that had a uniform upgrade to the words are not coming, to honor and respect various religious beliefs. And so, through the uniform, like with head coverings, things like that. So does religion matter in your controversy? So this will help to determine your audience, okay? And then finally, the next step is tailoring the ethos appeals. Okay, there's actually some really good information, and I didn't want to just copy it all over. New tailoring ethos appeal. Let me go over here. Let's see. Basically, I've pulled these three things out of Canvas. So choosing hostile audience, selecting sources, tailoring ethos appeals, and then also from Module 6, the proposal. So these are what I have pulled into these assignments. So tailoring ethos appeals to a hostile audience. Read this first, okay? And then you can come back and which one is it? There it is. And answer these questions. What groups are you a member of? Okay, so if you're arguing that we should have gender neutral restrooms in public high schools, well, you're a member of a public high school, a senior especially. What experience do you have with the topic? Okay, maybe you have classmates who are struggling and they have this kind of conflict every time they need to go to the restrooms. Like, where do they go? What do they, what do they do? What is your stake in the debate relative to the audience's stake? Okay, if you're arguing to the school board, what are similarities and differences as far as your stake, as far as being a stakeholder in that audience? How important is this topic to you? Does the outcome impact you? Does it impact your future? Does it impact someone you love? If you're looking at gender neutral restrooms at a high school, well, again, you're about to be out the door. But maybe you have a younger sibling, or maybe it's something that would, maybe you've had friends, again, who are struggling and they've gotten bullied because of it. All right, of these items, what do you think the audience is going to care most about? Are they going to care that you're a member of a specific group, that you're a stakeholder in the group, that you have this in common with them, your experience on the topic? And then which ones are disadvantages that you might need to concede, refute, or not even mention? Okay, so again, the fact that, okay, yeah, gender neutral bathrooms in public high school, well, that doesn't really impact you anymore unless you have a sibling there. But if you don't, then does that matter? Does that affect your own credibility as a rhetor? Okay, that seems like a lot. What questions you got for me? Everyone's turning cameras off. Got any questions? Y'all good? I'm gonna stop sharing so I can see y'all. Because y'all can pull it up on your own screens, right? Questions? Any questions? Anything? Pretty straightforward. Okay, baby steps, man, baby steps. Okay, so that's, again, my biggest piece of advice is when all of this, if it gets overwhelming, take a step back, breathe, deep breath, and then take some baby steps. Okay, do it piece by piece. So let me go back to, actually, let me do this. Let me I'm gonna get out of full screen. I'm gonna go back to the calendar because I forgot what I put on here for what to do. Okay, so we are, oh, I'm not sharing anymore. Where'd y'all go? It all just went away. Ah, there we go. I'm gonna go back to screen share and get this up. All right, so we are here. So the first thing you need to do is the invention and paper proposal in Google Classroom. And this one, assignment number 1. Right, so that's assignment number 2, and then assignment number 3. Okay, so again, the invention and paper proposal, complete that one first, and then read through the information in Canvas about choosing a hostile audience, and then brainstorm with a research cohort, with a friend, with a couple of friends. Complete that in Google Classroom, and then read the information, tailoring ethos appeals to a hostile audience, and complete that. Okay, so that, if you can get those done this week, then you should be in a really good position to get started with the writing. And then next Thursday is when we'll be starting peer reviews. Okay. Is that good? All good. All right, I'm going to stop recording.